Hey guys, what is going on? I hope you all are doing well today. Elliot here and welcome back to The Fragrance Well. So Thanos has snapped his finger. Now I was about to say fingers, but he only got one infinity glove. But anyway, he has snapped his fingers and said, you gotta start your collection over. And you can only do it with fragrances you already have now. That's today's video, a little bit of a hypothetical having fun video today. I have to start my collection over and I gotta choose 10 fragrances in my collection of over 200 right now to purchase first, so to speak. Some of these choices were easy, some of them not so much. But we're gonna get into it right now. Before we get started, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon if you do subscribe so you can be notified when I upload new content. Let's get into it. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get it started. I've got 10 of them here by the way, and the first one's going to be from the House of Nishane, and this is Hacivat. Nishane's Hacivat. Now this is probably the easiest choice out of this entire list. Why? This is my most worn fragrance since I started collecting. The bottle is almost halfway empty. I have no other bottle that's even close to that much being gone. Yep, and I haven't decanted out any of it either. I haven't put it into a travel thing or anything. It's all from just wearing it. This is a fruity pineapple fragrance in a chypre style. A lot of oak moss in this fragrance. I do know that the newer Nishane Hacivat X kind of removed that oak moss, so that automatically tells me that I probably don't want to replace it with this one because remember, I can't do that but based on the rules of the list anyway. But I wouldn't want to replace it because I love the oak moss in this. I don't want a fresher version of Hacivat. Not saying it's not good, not saying I wouldn't like it, but I doubt I would like it more than this. I do know there is like an Oud version out there. I'm very curious about that one. But this would be an easy get it again fragrance for me. I love this scent profile. Works great with the environment I live in. I just really enjoy wearing the scent. So once again from the House of Nishane, easy replace it first for me. This is Hacivat. Next up on the list from the House of Tom Ford, it's Oud Wood. Tom Ford's Oud Wood. I think if I was ever going to replace any Tom Ford fragrance first, it might as well be this one. This one's actually a little bit of a caveat because I actually had this before I decided to start collecting, but this is the first fragrance I purchased that I would consider a high quality fragrance purchase. Every fragrance I had before this wasn't necessarily low quality, but they definitely didn't stand up to the quality of something like Tom Ford's Oud Wood. Obviously, I've got fragrances that far exceed this one now to this point, but it's kind of a special purchase for me because it opened my eyes to the world of perfumery in terms of what it could be outside of what I kind of already knew. You know it well, it's a spicy, woody fragrance, features lots of cardamom, obviously has a little bit of oud in here, a nice blend of other spices, some rosewood, some ambery notes. It's a masterful, sexy, enjoyable oud fragrance. And yeah, if I'm gonna get a Tom Ford fragrance, it might as well be this. I'd also get a bigger bottle too, by the way. So once again, from the House of Tom Ford, this is Oud Wood. All right, next up from the House of Hermes, we're gonna go with Terre de Hermes Eau Givree. Terre de Hermes Eau Givree. Tough choice for me because I honestly would probably get Terre de Hermes, the original Eau de Toilette as well. I love that one. But I decided to go with this one mainly because this one gets me into the kind of summer specific fragrances. I do think you can wear this outside of summer, but honestly, that's when I would want to wear it the most. And I just cannot get over how good that grapefruit, rindy grapefruit juice-like feeling that this fragrance exhibits when you first spray it on has. I know it's actually a note of citron, but it's very similar to grapefruit, but I just love the way this smells. Simple, but awesome in its simpleness. As far as I'm concerned, this is still the best designer, summer-oriented fragrance to come out in the last couple of years. So far, I haven't smelled anything that I think comes close to this. Once again, from the House of Hermes, it's Terre de Hermes Eau Givree. Alright guys, next one's coming from the House of Amouage, and this is Interlude Man. Amouage's Interlude Man. I was kind of back and forth on this one and Reflection Man, mainly because, let's be real, Reflection Man is far more versatile as a fragrance than this is. But honestly, I've got other fragrances already on the list that give me some versatility. I think when you're starting a collection, even if you're starting over, you do want fragrances you can wear to a number of occasions, so you don't have to worry about only having maybe one or two that you can wear most of the time and the others are just sitting there. But I went with Interlude Man because this fragrance is very special to me. I think it's incredible. I love the scent DNA of it, and I'm also willing to wear it in situations where it may not be considered as appropriate. And also, yeah, like I said, I've got other fragrances that cover the versatility spectrum. This is a smoky, incensey fragrance, has some leatheriness to it, has that infamous oregano in the opening that I frankly have no problem with. I know it bothers other people, but I love it. And also, there's a bit of an availability aspect to this fragrance. You typically can find it at its usual discounted price, and it doesn't necessarily sell out as much as some of the others do. Even Reflection, I think, sells out more than this does, even though it's pretty well available too. So I did kind of consider that a little bit in my choices as well. Anyway, from the house of Oud Wood, it's Interlude Man. I think I would definitely have to get this one first. All right, guys, coming from the house of Xerjoff, we have got 40 Knots from the Join the Club collection. Xerjoff's 40 Knots. Boy, do I love this scent DNA. I love that amberiness it has with that kind of sea breeze vibe, the saltiness that's in here, and that awesome honey kind of sweetness that this fragrance has. Very unique to a degree, unique to a degree. It's kind of an interesting aquatic, which is what I really like about it. I kind of struggled with the House of Xerjoff too in terms of what I would get first. I was thinking Neo, but then I was like, nah. And then I was thinking Naxos. I'm like, Naxos and this, that's kind of a tough choice. But honestly, with the prices I've seen Naxos going for now, I'd honestly rather just go with this. And frankly, I enjoy this fragrance more, and I think it has a little bit more versatility while still being interesting. So yeah, if I was going to replace a Xerjoff fragrance in terms of being the first 10 I would get, we're gonna go with 40 Knots for this list. Once again, this is 40 Knots from the house of Xerjoff. All right, guys, next one's coming from the house of Lalique, and this is Encre Noire Sport. Lalique's Encre Noire Sport. This one was an easy choice for me. Main reason being, when I first started collecting, this is one of the first ones I got. It was within that first 10. Honestly, the price point did help that out a bit. I obviously wasn't spending too much on fragrances when I first got started, but out of all those fragrances that I got for a good price, and in terms of what's still easily available to find, this is the one that kind of wins out. And also, this is my favorite gym scent. I tend to wear this more than any other fragrance when I go to the gym, or I'm just kind of doing stuff where I expect to be sweating a little bit, or I know it's going to be a little warm. This is a very lemony vetiver fragrance, very woody, very grassy, but it is freshened up a bit compared to the original Encre Noire, which pretty much smells like grassy mud, which I do like, but it's not gonna be for everyone. But this is a fresher iteration of it, and I think tends to be probably the most worn out of the Encre Noire line up to this point. But yeah, it still goes for a great price online, still a very good quality fragrance for what you get, and it's easily found. So once again, from the house of Lalique, this is Encre Noire Sport. All right, next one's coming from the house of Prada, and it's Prada L'Homme. Prada L'Homme. So the main reason I chose to put this one on the list, two reasons. Number one, I still think it's one of the best, just soapy, fresh, powdery office style fragrances you can get on the market. And number two, who knows how long this is even going to be available. I mean, to this point, it doesn't look like the Prada is necessarily going to get rid of this one, but obviously they're doing nothing with the line. To this point, they've killed off the better iterations of this. I do think Intense is better, and I haven't smelled Prada L'Homme Low. I think it's Low, right? I do think you can still find it, but I haven't smelled that one, but I know people really like that one as well. But yeah, who knows how much longer this is going to be available, so if I can get it, I'm going to go ahead and get it. Very fresh, powdery iris fragrance, not necessarily in that makeup-y style, but definitely in the powdery variety. Has a lot of amber accords with it as well. A little bit of a spice in there with some black pepper just to balance it out a bit. But again, like I said, I still think this is one of the best offices fragrances you can get, and one of the easier iris-based fragrances you can wear. Once again, from the house of Prada, this is Prada L'Homme. All right, next one's coming from the house of Mancera, and this is Vetiver Sensuel. Mancera's Vetiver Sensuel. Now, most people would probably just go with Cedrat Boisé or Intense Cedrat Boisé if they were replacing their fragrance wardrobe and wanted to get a Mancera fragrance. And while I certainly cannot disagree with that, I am just simply not the biggest fan of Cedrat Boisé in that regard. I think it's nice, but I don't love it. I definitely love this over it, and honestly, from a versatility standpoint, if I'm gonna go for versatility, so to speak, with a Mancera fragrance, I think this one is gonna win out for me. I love the way the citruses come across in this fragrance, especially in the opening. Has this juiciness to it, just smells like citrus infused water to a degree. Has a little bit of a cleanliness vibe to it, and it's very easy to wear clean vetiver scent. Another one that's super versatile, very pleasing to the wearer and to those around, and you can pretty much use it for anything, and it also just smells great, especially for the price that you can get it for. Once again, from the house of Mancera, this is Vetiver Sensuel. Alright guys, next one's coming from the house of Parfums de Marly, and this is Herod. Parfums de Marly's Herod. Now, most people would probably go for Leighton, and I can't disagree with them. Leighton is a great choice, but for me, frankly, I wear Herod way more than I wear Leighton. And honestly, there's some other Parfums de Marly's I would probably want to go for, but based on my own rules for the video, I gotta get one that I already have in the collection. And frankly, a lot of those aren't necessarily easy to get. They sell out very often. Herod you can typically find. This is a wonderful cinnamon and tobacco and vanilla fragrance. Has a little bit of a smokiness to it, but not too much. Comes across as very sexy, very enjoyable, great for a date night out or an evening night out. And honestly, I just really enjoy the way this fragrance smells on my skin. And frankly, if I was gonna pick a Parfums de Marly out of the ones I have, this was an easy first choice. So once again, from the house of Parfums de Marly, this is Herod. Alright guys, and last but not least, from the house of Chanel, this is Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Bleu de Chanel Parfum. You could probably guess why I would put this one on here. Versatility. I mean, this fragrance works for anything. And out of all of the blue fragrances I have that kind of have that functionality to them, which is pretty much a functionality of blue fragrances anyway, this one's my favorite. This is the best smelling one in my opinion, the highest quality one in my opinion, and I think speaks to me as a person the most over the other ones that I have. I love how the woods come across in this fragrance. Has a little bit of has some citruses in it as well, maybe some aromatics kind of hiding in there. Primarily you're getting a good amount of cedarwood and sandalwood. And I just love the way this one comes across. I do think this is the best concentration out of the Bleu de Chanel fragrances. Will we see an elixir? I kind of hope not at this point, but we probably will, who knows. But yeah, I love the Parfum the best. This one I think is the classiest version. It's definitely gonna come across as the most mature version as well. And again, you can use it for anything, which is great when you're first starting out a collection. And if I had to start over, I would want fragrances that could do that. So once again, from the house of Chanel, it's Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for this list. That is 10 fragrances I would get if I had to start over, and I can only start over with fragrances I already have. So, let me know down in the comments below if you had to do the same thing. What's some of the fragrances you might take in your collection and repurchase immediately without even thinking about it? I appreciate you guys watching all the way into the end. Remember to be well and smell well, and I will see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.